According to multiple circulating reports, the raid took place early in the morning just after sunrise, when several black SUVs and unmarked vehicles were seen entering the Roloff Farms property. Witnesses described the scene as intense but quiet, with agents moving quickly and purposefully across the property, including the main farmhouse, the barn, and even the business office where much of the farm's paperwork is believed to be stored. Neighbors, some of whom have known the Roloff family for decades, say they were shocked. One local even told reporters, "You never expect something like this in our town, especially not at Roloff Farms. Everyone knows that place. It's part of our community." While details remain scarce, insiders close to the family claim that this was not a random inspection, but the result of a months-long federal investigation into questionable financial activity tied to Roloff Farms operations, real estate ventures, and off-the-books transactions allegedly managed by Caryn Chandler herself. For years, Caryn had been deeply involved in the farm's day-to-day management and its business partnerships, especially after Matt's health struggles and his semi-retirement from certain responsibilities. Fans saw her as the glue that kept the business running, but now, those same responsibilities are being viewed under a completely different light. Sources suggest that forensic accountants began uncovering inconsistencies that led federal authorities to open an official probe earlier this year. Some reports allege that large sums of money were quietly rerouted from farm revenues to private accounts, many of which are now under review. And while Caryn has yet to make a public statement, the silence from both her and Matt Roloff has only intensified speculation. Was this a misunderstanding, or the unraveling of one of reality TV's most trusted families? What makes this story even more shocking is how far back the alleged deception may go. Some say the paper trail dates back nearly 10 years, back when Caryn first began working at Roloff Farms, long before her romantic relationship with Matt became public. If these allegations hold any truth, it means the seeds of betrayal may have been planted long before anyone realized, perhaps even while Matt was still married to Amy Roloff. And now, with the FBI reportedly combing through years of tax documents, digital communications, and business contracts, fans can't help but wonder. Was Roloff Farms, once a symbol of family unity and perseverance, quietly built on a foundation of lies? Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For Roloff family latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. As the hours passed, local news outlets began circling the Roloff Farms property, trying to confirm what had just happened. Reporters described the scene as tense but controlled, with agents methodically moving in and out of the farmhouse barns, and even the office building where Matt conducts much of his business. The Roloff family's famous sign, once a symbol of warmth and family legacy, now loomed in the background of flashing police lights and hushed speculation. Neighbors reported hearing early morning commotion around 6:30 a.m., car doors slamming, voices over radios, and a brief confrontation when one of the Roloff staffers attempted to enter the property before being turned away by agents. "It was surreal," one local said. "This is the last place you'd expect to see something like that happening." Within hours, images began circulating online. A few blurry shots showed what appeared to be agents carrying out large boxes and laptops, sparking wild speculation about what kind of evidence they might have found. Others claimed they saw a visibly distraught Caryn Chandler speaking to one of the officers near the driveway, while Matt was nowhere to be seen. As panic grew online, longtime fans of Little People, Big World struggled to reconcile the heartwarming family they'd watched for years with the shocking reality unfolding before their eyes. Many took to Reddit and Facebook fan groups to share disbelief. "This can't be happening to them," one fan wrote. "They always seem so genuine, so hardworking." Another commented, "If the FBI is involved, this is serious. This isn't just a misunderstanding or a tax issue. Something much bigger must be going on." But the biggest question remained, why now? What triggered federal authorities to take such a drastic step after decades of Roloff Farms being a beloved Oregon institution? Insiders claim it all started months ago when irregularities were allegedly noticed in financial statements tied to farm events, pumpkin season sales, and a few private investments that Matt and Caryn had been overseeing. Sources close to the Roloffs suggested that the discrepancies might have looked small at first. A few missing invoices, unexplained transactions, and unusual account transfers. But when accountants dug deeper, they discovered something that didn't add up. Rumor has it that an anonymous tip was sent to the authorities, flagging suspicious activity that pointed toward fund mismanagement within one of the Roloff family's smaller business subsidiaries. That tip reportedly set off a quiet investigation, one that eventually grew into the full-blown raid. In the hours following the operation, FBI officials neither confirmed nor denied the purpose of their visit, citing an ongoing investigation. However, fans couldn't help noticing that Caryn Chandler, who had been managing several aspects of the farm's operations and finances since her relationship with Matt began, suddenly went silent online. Her social media accounts, once full of vacation photos, family updates, and cheerful posts, went dark almost immediately after the raid news broke. Meanwhile, Amy Roloff, Matt's ex-wife, was reportedly blindsided by the situation. Sources close to her said she was heartbroken and confused, especially considering how much of her life had been intertwined with the farm. Although she's no longer directly involved in the business, Amy has continued to maintain emotional ties to the land she helped build, making this investigation hit even closer to home. By the end of that chaotic day, the Roloff family's long-kept image of stability and integrity had been shaken. What once seemed like a picture-perfect example of family success now stood under the harsh light of scrutiny. As investigators left the property, fans were left asking the same haunting question: what did they find inside Roloff Farms that was worth an FBI raid? And as speculation continued to swirl, one name kept resurfacing: Caryn Chandler. Because while Matt might own the land, Caryn had been deeply involved in the business. If there were any secrets buried in the books, she might be the key to unlocking them. Caryn's connection to the Roloff empire runs deeper than most fans realize. When she first joined Roloff Farms, she wasn't the celebrity figure viewers would later recognize. She was part of the behind-the-scenes team that kept the business running. From handling event bookings to coordinating pumpkin season operations, Caryn earned a reputation as dependable and efficient. Over the years, she moved closer to the center of Matt Roloff's professional and personal life. She became his right hand, the person he trusted to manage schedules, track finances, and deal with the chaos of the family's growing fame. What started as a job gradually became a partnership. Then, as fans remember, that partnership evolved into something far more personal. But that's also where the story turns. As Matt's reliance on Caryn deepened, so did her access to bank accounts, to revenue spreadsheets, and to sensitive records tied to the Roloff brand. Sources familiar with the farm's business operations later described how Caryn's role expanded far beyond her original duties. She wasn't just managing events, she was quietly becoming a gatekeeper for money flowing in and out of the Roloff name. Then came the inconsistencies. Small amounts at first, untraceable payments, odd invoices, minor shortfalls brushed off as bookkeeping mistakes. But as time went on, the pattern grew harder to ignore. Event profits didn't match ticket records. Rental income disappeared between transfers. Even merchandise funds reportedly failed to align with reported sales. When internal reviews were quietly conducted, whispers began spreading among staff that something wasn't right. Some employees claimed they noticed adjusted totals appearing after transactions were already recorded. Others alleged that financial reports were being funneled directly through Caryn, bypassing the usual checks and balances that had kept the farm's finances transparent for years. Publicly, Caryn maintained her calm charm, the same personality that made her popular on Little People, Big World. But behind the scenes, a growing sense of unease began to form. Fans and insiders alike now describe it as Caryn's decade of lies, a slow-burning story of quiet manipulation, alleged greed, and betrayal that crept through nearly every part of the Roloff operation. And it didn't stop with the farm. Caryn's influence extended to brand deals, farm rentals, and even social media collaborations involving the Roloff name. Allegedly, she positioned herself as the point of contact for many of these ventures, controlling the flow of contracts, fees, and appearance payments. According to those familiar with the situation, this setup gave her near total oversight of the financial web surrounding Matt and the business, and that's where the most serious accusations originate. Some reports claim that, over a period of nearly 10 years, Caryn quietly diverted funds into side accounts allegedly tied to shell companies or personal investments. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the rumors alone have been enough to ignite a firestorm online. Fans on Reddit and Facebook groups began compiling what they call a timeline of deceit, highlighting every moment Caryn's financial involvement seemed to coincide with missing money or unexplained transfers. Each discovery deepened the mystery. Each inconsistency added weight to the growing theory that this wasn't just mismanagement, it was intentional. Then came the emotional fallout. For Matt, this revelation, or even the hint of it, was devastating. He had defended Caryn through every criticism, through every wave of fan backlash. He'd built not only a business but a future around her. Yet, as whispers of her decade-long deception reached the family, the trust that once defined their relationship began to fracture. Amy Roloff, Matt's ex-wife, was reportedly among the first to question Caryn's motives years ago. Fans often recall interviews where Amy expressed unease about how quickly Caryn became intertwined in the farm's financial matters. At the time, those comments were dismissed as post-divorce tension. Now, in hindsight, many are seeing Amy's words as warnings that went unheard. Even Zach and Tori Roloff, who had already distanced themselves from the farm, were said to be shocked but not surprised by the allegations. Zach had long felt that the business side of Roloff Farms had changed, that decisions were being made without family consultation, and that priorities shifted away from legacy toward profit. Caryn's rumored role in that transformation now seems, to many, more significant than ever. For fans, the emotional reaction has been explosive. Social media threads have filled with messages ranging from disbelief to outrage. Some argue Caryn is being unfairly targeted because of her long-criticized relationship with Matt. Others insist that the alleged paper trail and decade-long timeline can't be ignored. This division mirrors the same dynamic that's played out for years, Caryn as either the loyal partner or the quiet manipulator. But in light of these revelations, that line has never looked blurrier. If these allegations prove true, Caryn's decade of lies would represent one of the most shocking betrayals in the Roloff family's history, not only because of the financial implications, but because of the emotional devastation it left behind. As investigators began digging deeper, Caryn's name appeared in more and more financial statements. The pattern seemed undeniable: identical transfers, recurring amounts, and repeated justifications tied to operational costs. Each revelation peeled back another layer of a carefully maintained illusion. From trusted farm manager to the center of an alleged embezzlement scandal, Caryn Chandler's story has become a cautionary tale about how power, trust, and money can corrode even the most beloved family empires. And while the public waits for official confirmation or denial, one chilling question remains. How much did Matt really know? Because if Caryn's decade of lies truly spans back to the earliest years of their relationship, the implications go far beyond missing money. It could mean that everything fans thought they knew about the Roloff legacy, the love, the trust, the family bond, was built on deception from the start. When news of the alleged raid broke, the Roloff family's reactions couldn't have been more different. For Amy Roloff, the moment was bittersweet, a painful mix of vindication and sorrow. After years of strained relationships and quiet doubts about Caryn's intentions, Amy reportedly confided to friends that she wasn't surprised one bit. She spent decades watching the family empire evolve, fracture, and rebuild. But hearing that federal investigators had allegedly stepped onto the farm she once called home, that hit her hard. Amy, always the heart of the Roloff family, had tried to move on after her divorce from Matt. She built a new life with Chris Merrick, cherishing the peace she had finally found. But as the scandal unfolded, she was suddenly dragged back into the center of the chaos, reminded of every betrayal, every rumor, and every uneasy feeling she'd once tried to forget. In quiet moments, Amy is said to have expressed sympathy for Matt. Despite everything, they shared decades of history, and the farm had always been their legacy, something meant to pass down to their children. But according to insiders, Amy also couldn't help feeling that this situation might have been avoided if certain warnings had been taken seriously years ago. Meanwhile, Zach and Tori Roloff's reaction was described as pure frustration and disbelief. They've already endured their fair share of public scrutiny, from walking away from Little People, Big World, to navigating online gossip about their marriage and parenting. Now, the possibility that the Roloff name could once again be dragged through the mud left them devastated. For Zach, the farm wasn't just a business. It was his childhood, his memories, and his father's dream. Seeing it associated with words like raid and embezzlement felt like a personal betrayal. Tori, always protective of her husband and children, reportedly urged Zach to distance their young family from the situation entirely. According to one source close to them, Zach and Tori have worked so hard to protect their peace. They don't want to be caught in the middle of more Roloff drama, especially something this serious. Fans have taken to social media in droves, debating every rumor and leaked photo. Some insist the entire ordeal is being blown out of proportion, claiming the so-called raid was nothing more than a misunderstanding or a tax audit. Others believe this is only the beginning, with more revelations yet to come. The Roloff fandom has always been passionate, but this time the division feels deeper than ever. Supporters of Matt and Caryn argue that they've been unfairly targeted, while Amy's loyal fans see this as long overdue justice. One Reddit comment summed up the tension perfectly. If even half of what's being said is true, the Roloffs may never recover from this, not as a family and not as a brand. Behind the scenes, the family group chats have reportedly gone silent. What used to be lively exchanges of photos and farm updates has now turned into a wall of silence. Everyone is watching, waiting, and wondering who will speak publicly first. Even Jacob Roloff, the most private of the siblings, has allegedly been pulled into the whirlwind. Though he's kept his distance from the show for years, insiders claim he's furious about how things have spiraled, saying it proves why he left television in the first place. As for Molly, she's remained entirely out of the spotlight, choosing peace over publicity. Sources say she's heartbroken but not surprised, echoing Amy's long-held belief that unresolved conflicts and hidden agendas were bound to explode eventually. The fallout isn't just emotional, it's deeply personal. Every member of the Roloff family seems to be questioning where they stand, not only with each other but with the legacy that once defined them. For fans who grew up watching Little People, Big World, the sight of this beloved family unraveling has been gut-wrenching. What was once a story of resilience, love, and family values has now turned into something far darker, a tale of broken trust and unanswered questions. And as the clock ticks on, one thing has become painfully clear. This isn't just another reality TV scandal. It's a reckoning years in the making. As of now, neither Caryn Chandler nor Matt Roloff has made a public statement addressing the alleged raid or the accusations surrounding the family's finances. Their social media accounts have gone silent, no posts, no comments, no clarifications. For longtime fans used to seeing daily updates from Roloff Farms, the silence is deafening. TLC, the network behind Little People, Big World, has reportedly paused all filming connected to the Roloff family. Production insiders claim the decision was made out of respect for the ongoing situation and to protect the integrity of the series. Whether this pause is temporary or signals the end of the show's two-decade run remains uncertain. Meanwhile, legal experts following the case say that if the allegations of embezzlement, fraud, or tax evasion hold any truth, the consequences could be devastating. Federal investigations of this nature often lead to asset freezes, hefty fines, or even prison time. If proven guilty, the Roloffs could lose not only their farm but also the legacy they've built over nearly 20 years on television. But beyond the headlines and legal jargon lies a more personal tragedy, one that cuts to the heart of the Roloff name. This isn't just a story about a farm, a show, or a scandal. It's about a family once celebrated for overcoming adversity, now facing the hardest challenge of all, surviving themselves. Can the Roloffs ever regain the unity that made viewers fall in love with them? Can Matt, Amy, Zach, and even Caryn rebuild the trust that's been shattered? Or will this latest storm finally be the one that ends it all, both for the family and for Little People, Big World as we know it? For now, fans are left waiting for answers, waiting for truth, and waiting to see whether the Roloff's story, once one of hope, love, and resilience, will find redemption or collapse under the weight of its secrets. The Roloff family has faced countless ups and downs over the years, but this may be the most devastating chapter yet. From shocking financial scandals to deep emotional betrayals, what once appeared to be a wholesome family legacy has unraveled into a storm of secrets, lies, and heartbreak. For years, viewers saw Roloff Farms as a symbol of perseverance, love, and togetherness. But now that very symbol stands at the center of a federal investigation, leaving fans wondering what's real and what's been hidden behind the cameras. As the dust settles and investigators continue their work, one thing remains certain. The truth always finds its way to the surface, no matter how deeply buried it may be. Until then, fans can only wait and hope that the Roloffs can somehow rise from the ashes of this scandal. Thanks for watching, and until next time.